everybody. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. My topic for today is ways in which the spiritual realm was active in the 20th century. And I would like to do an introduction. The 20th century began on January 1st, 1901 and ended on December 31st, 2000. And the ways in which the spiritual realm was active in the 20th century were 1. Diseases. The 20th century saw an explosion in our knowledge of disease and led to the conquering of many previous fatal infections. And it had some of the most dangerous diseases, for example, the Spanish flu or 1918 influenza pandemic from February 1918 to April 1920 infected 5 million people and 17 to 100 million people died, caused by H1N1 influenza A virus. There was also the HIV AIDS from 1981 till present, and other diseases which were very deadly. And this shows how the spiritual realm was active in that those diseases were deadly and they killed a lot of people. The other way is through revivals. Christian revival is increased spiritual interest or renewal in the life of a church congregation with a local, national or global effect. For example, there was the 1904 to 1905 Welsh revival in Wales formed by Joseph Jenkins, Azusa Street revival from 1906 to 1915 led by William J. Seymour, Pyongyang Great Revival from 1907 to 1910 in North Korea led by Kil Sangjo, and also there was the East African Revival. This shows that there were divine forces taking place through those revivals, and many people gave their lives to Jesus Christ during that century. There was also the rise of occultism. There had been rise of occultism and false religion like the New Age movement, the hippie movement, and the example of the occultists were Alice Bailey, Aleister Crowley, Adolf Hitler, David Bowie, Jean Chevalier, Anton LaVey, Kenneth Anger. And the New Age movement was formed in the 1970s and 1980s. It was looking forward to the new age of love and light and offered a foretaste of the coming era formed by Helen Brovner Blavatsky. Those and so many. So that means that there are demonic forces taking place as a result of occultism taking place during that century. And Anton LaVey formed the Church of Satan, which affected immorality and spirituality, not only in the United States but also the rest of the world. Number 4 was, it was featured by devastating wars. For example, the Italo-Ethiopian War from 1935 to 1936 in Ethiopia. There was the World War I from 1914 to 1918. There was also World War II from 1939 to 1945. Those wars were very devastating, and it led to loss of countless lives, and those are the signs that the demonic forces were taking place as a result of was taking place. There was also technology. Technology was introduced in the 20th century, like the aeroplanes by the Wright brothers in 1903. There was television, nuclear weapons like the atomic bomb during World War II, and the hydrogen bomb. Some of those technologies, they were not inspired by God, but inspired from the devil. For example, the atomic bomb and the hydrogen bomb. Those ones were inspired by the devil. Those ones were created by the men who are occultists, and they were thinking about bloodshed. There was also mighty preachers. There were great preachers, for example, William J. Seymour, Reinhard Bonnke, Catherine Kuhlman, Billy Graham, that facilitated the spread of the gospel. Those guys, they brought a lot of crusades during that time. They also brought healing to various people from different countries, and they healed people from diseases, and they also ensured that the gospel was spread throughout the nations of the world. And also it also showed that the divine forces were taking place during that time. There were also earthquakes. It recorded some of the deadliest earthquakes. For example, the 1920 Haiyan earthquake in China with a magnitude of 7.8 ms. There was the 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile with a magnitude of 9.4 to 9.6, and so many other earthquakes. Those earthquakes were deadly as they destroyed people's lives, and many people died from those earthquakes. There was also famines. Recorded some of the worst famines, for example, China from 1958 to 1962 as a result of Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward, had 10 and to 30 million people dead. There's also the Soviet Union from 1921 to 1922, where 9 million people died due to drought ignored by Vladimir Lenin's government. There's also the Ethiopian famine in 1984. There was also the 1992 drought in Somalia as a result of Said Barre's government. And there's also Cambodia famine in 1979, where 101.5 million to 2 million people died due to civil war from 1970 to 1975. There was also the Cold War politics developed after World War II between the United States and the Soviet Union. There's the introduction of capitalism versus communism. Those ones were very iconic in the 20th century as they affected the whole world, as some of the countries opted for capitalism while some of the countries opted for communism. And this one showed that the demonic forces were taking place as a result of the Cold War politics. There was also the sexual revolution from 1960s to 1980s. It was a social movement that challenged the traditional codes of behavior related to sexuality in the United States, and it normalized contraception and appeal, public nudity, pornography, premarital sex, homosexuality, masturbation, and also abortion. Well, this video has come to an end. these are the ways in which the spiritual realm was active in the 20th century, as this showed that there were divine forces versus the demonic forces taking place during the 20th century. Hope you've learned something in this video. Have a good day, and you go in peace.